James is an animal activist hailing from Australia. A few years ago, he took a one-year vow of silence on behalf of the voiceless animals stuck in fatal and exploitative industries. Having lived through transformative battles with life-threatening illnesses himself, James is in touch with suffering, and his empathy for others shines through in the way he lives his life. In his own words, James replaced drugs, cancer, and bulimia with surfing, veganism, and meditation. So without further ado, welcome James.
Thank you all so much for that warm welcome. I appreciate it very much. And that was probably one of the best ways I've been introduced, so thanks for that as well. It made me sound good. All right, so yes, I'm from Australia. I'm here today to hopefully educate and encourage and inspire you. I just want to tell you my story. I want to tell you the connections I've made. I want to tell you that I was somebody who did not used to care at all about animals, and I want to tell you that anybody can change. You know, that's the beauty of this. When you awaken compassion inside of yourself, it grows, it spreads, it encompasses more than just you, more than just your family, more than just the pet dog, but that can grow to embrace all of nature and all animals. And when that happens, that is how we make this world a better place. So today I'm not here to judge anybody. I'm not here to tell anybody that you're a bad person. I'm not going to call a single person a murderer today. But I do want to tell you exactly why I think what I'm going to talk about is so incredibly important, so all-encompassing. This covers our health. This covers our societal beliefs of what it means to be a good, kind, loving person. This covers the exploitation of the most innocent and vulnerable beings of this planet, the most devastating things happening to this environment today. So there's so much to this. It's such an important topic. I'm going to talk fast because I only have a certain amount of time, and this I could go all day. So what I want to do is just tell you my own story in the hopes that, like I said, you can find something from it to take. And my suggestion would be to just choose a few things, a few main take-home points that you can use and hopefully adopt into your life. It's all about making moves into a direction that is going to be better for you, better for the animals, better for this planet. So it all started for me. My whole journey really began about 12 years ago when I was diagnosed with leukemia and lymphoma. I was so sick. I was 17 years old. I put on about 60 pounds so fast that the stretch marks on my sides ripped and bled. I lost all my hair. The doctors told me I'd be dead in 6 weeks. And I was so lucky to have been in a fairly healthy state when I got sick, that I was able to get through that, you know, through pneumonia, knocking on the door kind of thing of death's door. I was so close so many times. The doctor said at some point, if I stopped at one more red light on the way to the hospital, I wouldn't be here. So I had never really experienced suffering in such a enormous way up until this point. The worst before that, I'd sprained my ankle a few times skateboarding. It was pretty minor. Cancer was serious, and this is where I realized that to suffer is one of the worst things that we can go through. And so it also follows that to come out of your suffering is one of the greatest things you can go through. And I was so lucky when I was able to start getting fit, getting healthy, getting strong again, that I met a man who helped me lose all that weight, the 60 pounds, and he helped me get my health back. But what he'd really done was helped me out of my suffering. And not only was this such a gift for me, but also for him. He felt so good. He'd done something very significant. If coming out of your suffering is one of the best things that can happen to you, then surely to help someone else out of theirs is one of the best things you can do to contribute in this world. I was so motivated by what he'd done for me that I decided to become a personal trainer as well, which is what he was. I wanted to help people in the same way that he'd helped me. And that's what I did for the next 8 years. Very passionate about helping others out of their suffering. Very passionate about helping people learn how to eat better, to train, to get off their medications, to just take care of themselves. I was so passionate. And 8 years in, I started working on cruise ships, traveling around the world, giving the lectures on health, doing all the classes, meeting 1,000 new people every week. Some very interesting people, some very weird people. Put your hand up if you've been on a cruise ship before. All right. Yeah, see? A lot of weirdos in this crowd, so you know what I'm saying. A lot of interesting people. Every week, 1,000 new people through the gym. And one day I met this very interesting man, a very wise old Indian man who looked like the Buddha. Had this big smile, this big belly, always like this. And he talked. He talked like I think the Buddha would have talked, man. He was deep. He was philosophical. He was an intellectual man. So every day I'd sit down with him and I'm like, tell me some more stuff. And for about 2 hours, he'd just talk about the universe, talk about nature, talk about connections he could see. It was so interesting. I'd never met someone like this before. And we talked for about 2 weeks, every day, 2 hours a day. And then on the last day, I nearly got out of there, man. I nearly got out of there. On the last day, he dropped the bomb on me. And he said something that changed my life forever. He said, eating animals is bad karma. And I went, oh shit. Obviously, I didn't know if I believed in karma. That was a foreign concept to me. But because this man was so wise, I saw it more as a very wise person is telling me that there's something negative about eating animals. That's how I saw it. So I thought, whatever about the animals, I don't care about them, but I care about me a lot. Pretty much that's all I cared about at the time. I care about me, and if there's some way that I can improve my life and improve my health and live in a more positive way, for me, cool. I'm willing to give that a try. But I was a little bit stuck because as a personal trainer for the last 8 years, I'd been telling everybody, you need to eat meat. You need to eat meat. Vegetarians would come to me and say, yeah, I'm a vegetarian. I say, not anymore. That has to end right now. You can't be a healthy vegetarian. That's what I believed. So I said that to this man. There's no such thing as a healthy vegetarian, though. And he said, I've been vegetarian for 20 years. And I said, I'm scared for your health, man. You need to get to a doctor. You're probably low in protein and iron and who knows what else, man. This is bad. You could die any day right now. You've been alive for 20 years longer than you should have been. And he said, I've been vegetarian 20 years. I thought, what? All right. Maybe there's something to this. Maybe. So I'll go vegetarian for a week. I'll see how I feel. Mainly, I just wanted to cross it off the list. I tried it. It didn't work for me. Good. I don't have to try it again. 3 days in to being vegetarian, I felt so good. It shocked me. I felt amazing. I felt healthy. I felt strong in the gym. I felt like I needed to sleep less. I felt better after my meals. I just felt generally better. And the food I was eating, I was actually enjoying. I thought I was just going to be eating lettuce and tofu for every meal. I had no idea. Have some grass with some twigs and berries or something. I don't know. I was eating curries. I was eating all these delicious foods. And I thought, why do I feel good? I haven't eaten meat in 3 days. I thought I'd barely be able to get out of bed this morning. I'm feeling good. There must be something to this. Now, you got to remember, I was on a cruise ship. Pretty much everybody here has been on one. You know what it's like. Every single meal, buffet. You try living on one of those things. It's tempting. And so every meal, there was no room for vegetables and fruit. I'm stacking my plate up full of meat. No wonder in 3 days I was feeling better. Because that's all I was eating, just meat. So I look into it. Why do I feel good? I start researching. And I was shocked at what I learned. Not only can you be healthy without eating any animal products, but you are likely to be far healthier, live a longer life, reduce your chances of heart disease, diabetes, cancer, obesity, osteoporosis. So many killers that we are plagued with today that we are going to die from, most of us. Our friends, our family are going to suffer and die from these diseases that I am just starting to learn we don't even need to get for the most part. I thought, what? How did I not know about this? 8 years I've been a personal trainer. I've studied hard in that time. And I realize now that information had come to me, but every time it did, I just went, oh, I don't want to see that. I remember one time I saw this video of, I think they put like Coca-Cola on this piece of pork and all these tapeworms and all these like disgusting parasites came out of it. And I just looked at it and I went, well, that's disgusting, but that's not my meat. That don't happen in my meat. I got different meat than that guy. I don't know what he's eating. Information had come. I was closed off. Never in my life, ever, did I think I would stop eating meat. It was not an option. I ate meat breakfast, lunch, dinner, every single day. It was not an option. But feeling good and learning what I was learning, I thought, wow, I can help my clients more with this information. I can help my family more. And I can help myself. I don't want to suffer again. I know what that's like. I don't want to go through that again. All right, maybe I'll stick with being vegetarian for a while. And you know what vegetarians are like. They tell everyone they're vegetarian. So I'm going around and I go, guess what, man? You got to go vegetarian. Oh, my God, it's so good. What, you're not even vegetarian? What are you doing? And people are like, bro, you were eating steak yesterday for breakfast. What has happened to you? I'm like, no, vegetarian. You got to go. And through my research, because I got so into this, I started every spare moment, I'm reading books about it, looking on the internet, other people's experiences. I was just so intrigued that it was like this thing I'd missed out on learning this amazing thing, right, of being healthier. And I couldn't help but notice that so many people aren't vegetarian for the health benefits, but so many people are vegetarian for the animals. There's one right there. And I didn't get it. I didn't get it at all. I was like, why would you change your life for the animals, man? Oh, my God. Like, come on, cry me a river, mate. I didn't get it. I was not an animal lover. I can tell you right now, I didn't like them. They were slobbery. They were dirty. They always messed my pants up. They got hair everywhere. I didn't like animals. I'm not an animal lover. I didn't even like them. I didn't understand them. I didn't know who they were. Don't judge me. I see you all like, oh, my God. Is this the guy? Is this the voiceless dude? It's me. I'm getting there. Give me a minute. So I see everybody's reason. They're vegetarian for the animals. And I thought, all right, I'm getting a bit more open-minded to this conversation. Maybe I should look more into it. Everyone's recommending me this documentary, watch Earthlings. If you don't get it, watch Earthlings. Well, that's quite the documentary. I thought, all right, I'll watch this movie. In case you haven't seen it, Earthlings shows all the ways that humans exploit and kill animals for food, clothing, entertainment, medical testing, as pets. It shows all the ways that humans use and abuse animals. I'd seen similar before. My brother said one day, bro, watch the documentary with me. I've seen it already, and after this, you're never going to want to eat meat again. I was like, right, mate, let's have a look. I watched this documentary, animals getting slaughtered. I felt nothing. I couldn't believe he thought that was going to get me to stop eating meat. I thought, mate, if you want to stop eating meat because of that, that's up to you. That's your choice. I'm a human. I need to eat meat to be healthy, so I'm not going to feel guilty about that. If you want to, go ahead, but that makes no sense to me. But watching Earthlings, with a new understanding, it led me to the question, if we don't need to kill and eat animals to survive and thrive, what are we doing this to them for? And I desperately wanted to find an answer to that question. I thought there must be a good answer because everybody says they love animals. Not me, but most people. And if you don't love animals, 99% of people can agree that animal cruelty is wrong. Almost everyone can agree with that. And I agreed with that. So when I saw what was happening, I thought there must be a good reason for this because everyone's against animal cruelty. And I didn't want to stay vegetarian. No way, man. So I wanted to find an excuse not to be. So I looked, and I kept looking. I'm still looking. The best justifications there are for what we do to animals today, for the way we abuse and kill them, is taste, habit, tradition, and convenience. And thinking about those justifications, I realized these in no way outweigh the importance of not causing harm to these innocent beings. I'm no animal lover, sure, but I don't hate animals. I don't despise animals. I don't want to go out and just kill them and just because I like how they taste. You know, I like money in my pocket, but I don't go around killing people and stealing their wallets for it. It's not right. And I thought, this taste pleasure in my mouth is not a good enough justification for killing these animals. I went, damn it. I was really hoping I'd find something. So I thought, you know what? I'm going to be vegetarian now, not just for health, but for the animals. And then I changed my tune. I tell everybody, hey, remember I was telling you to go vegetarian for health? There's this whole nother story to it. And everyone's like, don't tell me, man. I don't want to know. Don't spoil my dinner. I'm like, get your hands off there. I got a lot to tell you. I watched this documentary. It blew my mind. I'm telling everybody, I felt like I discovered this huge secret that was hidden right in front of us on our plates. And animal lovers and people that are strongly opposed to animal cruelty can't even see it. And it's right there. It shocked me. And people's response shocked me too. I'm telling you, you can still eat delicious food. You just don't have to eat the animals. I don't want to know, don't spoil my dinner. I was like, this is weird. This is like a conspiracy or something. So I started looking into it more. And this Indian man, just before he left, just before I got away, I said, how do you know all this stuff, man? You're so wise. He said, meditation. I was like, yeah, right. Come on, man. You didn't just sit around with your legs crossed and have some knowledge come to you. You must have read some books. You must have watched some documentaries, done some courses. He said, no, it was just sitting around. It came to me. I'm like, damn, I don't want to do that. I'm a busy man. I can't just sit in the corner for an hour. He said, if you want to learn things like this, that's what you should do. Oh, man, all right. I'll try it out. So I book in for a 10-day silent meditation course. I don't just go, I'll start 10 minutes in the morning. I'm like, sweet, I'll do a 10-day meditation then, where you meditate for 10 hours a day for 10 days and you don't talk the whole time. I'm in the deep end, man. You'll see, there's more stories like this. So I say these guys say, go to meditation. I'm like, sweet. I get home from my cruise ship. My mum, my dad, my bro, they're like, are you still vegetarian? Like, people have been calling, you know? Everyone's freaking out. I'm like, yeah, I'm vegetarian. You're going to be vegetarian soon too. You're going to watch this documentary, man. Sit down. And I get them to watch Earthlings and that. Anyway, I go to my meditation. 10 days. No speaking, 10 hours a day meditating. What was I thinking, man? It was hard. 5 days in, I have this very strange sensation come over my body. And I'm freaking out. What the hell's going on? And then what I think happened was it was my body trying to get me to speak. And I'm like, not yet, 5 more days. And it was this weird thing happening. And then it passed. And I thought, man, I haven't spoken 5 days. That's pretty sweet. I wonder how long I could do this for. Imagine doing a whole month. That's pretty long. Imagine doing a whole year. Oh, that's pretty impressive. I thought, is that possible? I don't know. But that's kind of up my alley, And look, here's the problem. I'd been meditating for 5 days. When you've been meditating for that long, all ideas seem like good ideas. Anything. You're like, yeah, put that on the list, put it on the list. Vow signs for you, sure, chuck it up there. I would never have thought this was a good idea on a random Tuesday or something. So after my meditation, I'm like, right, I'm gonna do this vow silence. But I can't just get back from my meditation and, I've already come home and said, guess what? I'm not eating meat anymore. And everyone's like, what? This guy? I can't get back from my meditation and be like, guess what? I'm not going to speak for a whole year as well. People are going to be like, I told you he was on the drugs. So I need some sort of reason to do this. What am I passionate about? Maybe I could raise awareness for something I'm passionate about. I'm passionate about human health. I have been for a long time. But my newfound passion for speaking up for the animals was strong. I'd been vegetarian for 3 months, but I cared a lot. I thought maybe I could do it to raise awareness for the animals. They're voiceless. I'll be voiceless. That's good enough. That works. Sweet. All right. But is this a big enough cause? Is it? I keep telling people about it and people don't really seem to care. Is this a big enough cause? Let me do more research. So I do. And I realize as well, there's a lot of questions that people have. People are asking me every day, where do you get your protein from, man? I'm like, I actually don't know. I hope it's in the food I'm eating. What about free-range farms? You know, I'm like, yeah, maybe. I don't know. Humanely slaughtering animals? I'm thinking, I know that sounds wrong, but I can't really articulate why. All these questions. What if we don't kill and eat the animals? Won't they take over the world and eat us? And I'm like, chickens? I don't know. Are they? I'm freaking out now. I need to learn the answers to these questions. I start researching. I learn this isn't just about us. Although right now we do have an epidemic of illness and disease. So many people suffering. So many of us are going to die prematurely, decades before our time, simply because of what we chose to put into our body. We could have easily made better choices. Our friends, our family, we can help them so much, reduce so much suffering, and improve our health, and have widespread revolution of wellness and energy and good life. Good life. It's so exciting. There's so much potential here. And that really motivated me. I realized also there's so much environmental destruction happening from animal agriculture, which I'd never really thought about it before. But I learned animal agriculture is the leading cause of deforestation, species extinction, habitat loss, ocean dead zones, greenhouse gas emissions. They estimate that by the year 2048, there'll be no fish left in the ocean. That's not long from now. There are more greenhouse gas emissions produced by the methane that comes out of cows than by every single plane, train, every single transportation device on this planet, just from the cows. It's destroying the planet. Obviously, that's important for our generation, for our next generations, for our kids and their kids. We only have one place. And I don't want us to go to war over water. But I couldn't help but keep coming back to the animals. This is 1.5 trillion, and that's a conservative number, 1.5 trillion innocent beings who feel pain and suffer just like we do. They have friends, families, they communicate with each other, they eat, they breathe, they sleep. They have blood in their veins, they have a heart, they have a brain. They have so much in common with us. Everything that matters, they have in common with us. They are animals, we are animals too. And the way we treat them, you would not wish on your worst enemy. We treat them worse than we treat the worst child molester. We treat them worse than we treat the worst serial killer. And they've done nothing wrong, ever. I thought this is 1.5 trillion reasons to take this vow of silence for the animals. So I think, all right, I need to keep learning though, because these questions keep coming, and I'm going to put myself out there. So I need to find out what it's all about. I need to be a credible source of information. And what I kept learning was that this isn't just about being vegetarian. I thought I was doing enough, but I soon learned that there is at least as much cruelty in dairy, in eggs, wool, leather, silk, in places that test on animals, that use animals for products, places that exploit animals for entertainment. All animal use is a form of exploitation. All exploitation is a form of abuse. And all abuse is wrong. I realized being vegetarian isn't enough. Why am I against cruelty to animals bred for beef, but I'm not against the cruelty to animals in the dairy industry or the egg industry? And to take it another step, I'm paying for the cruelty. I'm creating a demand for these products. It doesn't happen if we don't create a demand. I'm paying someone. I'm saying, here, please go and kill those animals for me so I can eat the cheese. That's what I was doing. I wasn't just on neutral about it. I was paying the abusers. And that makes me equally responsible for that abuse. It's not just about not eating meat. It's not about being against cruelty to one animal and not another. It's not about loving dolphins and dogs and whales and killing and eating pigs and cows and chickens and fish. There's no moral difference between those animals. All cruelty is cruelty. I realized I wasn't there yet. And this is when I learned about the word vegan. And man, I thought vegans were extreme. All my life, I thought vegans were extreme. I knew a little bit. I had one friend who was vegan. His name's Grant. Someone said to me one day, Grant has gone vegan. I said, what the hell does that mean? He said, I don't know, but he doesn't sit on leather couches anymore. I said, I have no idea why he would do that. He stands up more now for some reason. It makes no sense. Vegan, in case you don't know, it's somebody who doesn't consume any animal products, support any animal exploitation. We don't eat them, we don't wear them, we don't use them for medical testing, we don't exploit them as far as practically possible. We just leave them alone, like we would want to be left alone. We apply the golden rule. We treat them the way that we would want to be treated. I don't want someone cutting me up, taking my babies away from me. I don't want someone killing me when they feel like a snack. Pretty simple. I just afford them that basic respect, the most basic respect, to not kill them when I can easily eat something else. It's so basic. I was thinking about it. I'm like, why do I think veganism is extreme? Veganism is chill. Veganism is peaceful and loving and respectful. The way that I was living my life, that started to seem really extreme. Extremely cruel and violent and abusive and totally unnecessary. And that's not the kind of person I am. I strive to be a good person, a caring person, a loving person. And I realized that until I was vegan, I was running in the opposite direction of the person I was striving to be. So I realized, oh my God, I need to go vegan. This is going to be hard. I thought it was going to be so hard. Thankfully, it was so much easier than I expected. I started Googling vegan versions of my favorite old recipes. I found out that you can make ice cream by blending frozen bananas with a bit of soy milk. When I learned that, I was like, oh, I've got this now. Vegan's easy. I just have that 3 times a day. I'm happy. You know, it did take, I made some mistakes and I slipped up a few times here and there. But when my toothpaste ran out, I just went and replaced it with a vegan one. When I went to get Mexican, I'd get the black beans instead of the mince. I'd get the guacamole instead of the sour cream. If I was going to an Italian restaurant, I'd get the tomato-based pasta. It was actually so much easier than I expected. And there's so much support out there now that it's never been easier. In fact, in this country and in Australia, where I'm from, and in a lot of countries around the world, you can get vegan meat, you can get vegan cheese, you can get vegan ice cream, you can get vegan everything. So you're not even sacrificing anything. All you're doing is this. You go to the supermarket, usually you would get cow's milk, and this is what you do. Just like that. And then you just get soy milk, rice, almond, coconut milk, hazelnut milk. It's pretty easy. So I was really excited. I started planning my vow of silence. The plan was to travel around Australia and to write a blog about my experience. And then on January 1st, 2014, that vow of silence began. A very anticlimax moment. You know when you get excited about something for a whole year, and when it finally happens, you scream and cheer? Well, obviously I wasn't doing that. I was just like... Okay, so the plan was... That was actually the day that I went vegan as well. That was the day I said, no more slip-ups. I'm tired of that, I'm not doing that anymore. This is legit now. I was choosing those slip-ups. I'd be like, oh, you're going to throw it away anyway? Here, I'll have it. And I decided, I'm not doing that anymore. I do not want to condone consuming animals at all. Even if it's about to be thrown out, I don't want it in my body. I don't want to make out like it's a good thing. I start traveling. First point of action, to not speak. Man, that is hard. You try to do it for an hour today. Everyone wanting to talk to you, even walking past, you look like such a rude person. People are like, hey, mate. And you're like, oh, no, sorry. Not going to happen. And I just kept reminding myself constantly. I actually met a woman from America. She'd emailed me and she said, James, I'm coming to Australia. I said, cool. She said, I'm a vegan. I went, sweet, me too. She said, I'm not talking for a year. And I was like, that's my idea. You stole that. Come on now. She came over and she was very fluent with sign language. And people fluent with sign language? You get that? Some of you are like, yeah, I got that. Some of you are like, what the hell did you just say? They speak with their mouth without the words. And she started doing that. And I was writing everything down before that. It was so frustrating. I think of a funny joke in a group. I'm like, oh, yeah, I'd write it down. As I'm about to pass it, I'm like, this isn't funny anymore. It sucked. So being able to communicate like this, it freed up a lot of time. I thought, cool, I got so much more time now. I don't have to be a recluse and worry about slipping up all the time as much. And then I thought, what can I do with my time? Maybe I should go and visit these animals I'm standing up for. I've never even been around pigs and cows and chickens, ever. I'd only been around my dog, Bruce, who I didn't even like that much, remember? So I was like, I didn't. So I was like, all right, may I go meet some of these other animals, you know, learn, teach people through my blog what's going on. I go to this animal sanctuary. They're all excited. They're like, it's the voiceless guy. I was like, what's up? I get to this place. They're showing me around. This is Harry the horse. This is Peter the horse. And I was like, okay, it was a bit weird. Then she takes me to the chickens. There's all these chickens, 30 chickens. This is Sarah, this is Sally, this is Jasmine. I'm like, oh my gosh, she knows all their names. And I didn't know this. You know how there's those like ladies, well, that's a stereotype. There's those humans, all these ladies going like, hey. There's humans who like are obsessed with cats and they got like 45 cats at home. There's probably some here. You know, don't be shy. Oh. Right? There's also people who feel the same about chickens, which I had, there's one right here too, which I had no idea. So she's telling me all these names, and I just mouthed it to her, but I'll just say it so it's easier for you all. I'm like, I don't understand why you would name them all. They're just chickens, you know? Like, they're not dogs. They don't come to their name or anything. How do you even know which one's which? They all look the same to me, which you don't say to one of these people. And she's like, what are you talking? Like, is this the guy? What are you talking about? They're all individuals. Like, look, Sarah, she's so sweet. Give her a pat. She loves it. Watch out for Jasmine. She'll rip you to shreds. I'm like, which one? She starts telling me about them. I'm like, maybe that's true. Maybe they do have their own individual thing going on. I never saw animals as intelligent at all. I didn't know anything about them. I always thought that they were kind of just like robots. They weren't like sentient beings. I don't know what I thought, man. But it wasn't that they were capable of a rich emotional life and intelligence and similar to me. I didn't see them as similar to me. In fact, I thought they were humans and I thought they were animals. I must have missed that day in Year 7 science class. I didn't know that humans were an animal. I didn't know. I thought we were different things. So I didn't realize we are just one species of millions of animals. And actually the reason why we are the way we are, so able to do so many amazing things, our voice box is very complicated compared to other animals. It gave us the ability to use our language in a more complicated way, and we could pass that on to the next generation and build on that instead of starting fresh each time. And that's why we can do what we do. Our voice box, don't think you're special. It's just that. But we've obviously done amazing things. Anyway, and so she's telling me about these animals. I'm starting to think maybe I'm not giving them the credit they deserve. The next day, we get a call. It's, I don't know in American, like, Fahrenheit, but it's like 45 degrees Celsius. So it's like 4,000 degrees Fahrenheit or something. It's hot. Hottest day ever. And we're sweating. Oh, my God, it's so hot. And then we get this call that a baby cow by the name of Rupert has just been rescued from a slaughterhouse, and can they bring him to us? And we were like, of course. So this baby cow rocks up in the back of this station wagon. He's in the boot. Oh, you don't call it that. He's in the trunk of a station wagon. I said that earlier. I said, can you open the boot? And she said, do you mean the trunk? I'm like, it's got nothing to do with an elephant. And she said, it's got nothing to do with a boot. So open up the trunk, and there's this baby cow in there, tiny, soft, gentle, the most beautiful little thing I ever seen. The eyes, like the most beautiful eyes, big eyelashes. I was like, oh my God, this cow is so good looking. You get this cow out there, I'm just patting it, like so soft. Wow, I've never seen a baby cow before. But Rupert is not in a good way. His eyes are rolling in the back of his head. He's breathing heavy. He looked like he was suffering. He couldn't stand up on his own legs. His umbilical cord was still just hanging there. This is a fresh living being to this world. A day or two, maybe 3 days old. And he's suffering. And we didn't know what to do. We're trying to get fluids into him. We're trying to help him. And it really shocked me, actually, because I'd read about animals like this, but I'd never, I'd seen it on YouTube. But what had happened was Rupert was a waste product of the dairy industry. So everyone knows that meat is cruel. I mean, you cut something off someone's body, that's going to hurt, and they're going to probably die. But when it comes to milk, you see this carton, it's all white. There's this happy picture of usually like a cartoon cow on the front. You're like, that doesn't look that bad. There's no blood in there. There actually is, but you don't see it. The dairy industry is one of the most cruel industries on this planet. And the reason why Rupert had come to us is this. So I'll tell you the process. In the dairy industry, for an animal, for a mother to give milk, she doesn't just give it freely all the time. She has to be pregnant or recently given birth. For that to happen in the dairy industry, a human will force their arm into this mother's anus and then inject her vagina with bull semen. Force a pregnancy on her in a brutal way. She has a 9-month pregnancy and then gives birth. 9 months, just like a human mammal. And then the babies are taken from her straight away, because if they stay, they're going to drink the milk. So humans separate the mother from the baby. This is one of the most traumatic experiences that the mothers and the babies ever go through. Mothers often cry and bellow for their babies for days, returning to the same spot and looking in the same direction where they last saw their babies. They're a very maternal animal. The baby boys will never produce milk. They're seen as a waste product. So these baby animals, just being born, beautiful, gentle beings, are sent to the slaughterhouse. At the slaughterhouse, they have a bolt gun put to their head, which fires a bolt through their skull into their brain, just to pierce their brain. It doesn't kill them. And then they get their throats slit. These baby animals get their throats slit. The baby girls have the same fate as their mother. They're forcibly impregnated. As soon as they're old enough, her babies are taken from her. She's hooked up to painful milking machines. And then, when she can no longer continue, after about 4 to 7 years, when she's been so severely exploited and abused, she doesn't produce as much milk anymore. She's seen as less profitable. She's also sent to the same slaughterhouse as her babies. Shot in the skull, throat slit. And what do we call that? We have the nerve to call that humane slaughter. Humane slaughter. If you don't know what the word humane means, I'll tell you. Humane means to show compassion. Have you ever heard of a bigger oxymoron? Humane means to show compassion. There is no compassionate way to kill someone who doesn't want to die. There's no compassionate murder. There's no compassionate child abuse. There's no compassionate slaughter. There's no humane slaughter. It's a word used by industry to make good people like us feel better about our choice to contribute to something very, very cruel and wrong. Humane slaughter helps the profiters, not the animals. There's no such way to kill someone who does not want to die in a humane way. That is the dairy industry. Why does that happen? Why all that violence, forcible impregnation, bestiality, taking babies from their mothers, killing babies, killing mothers? Why? People like having a piece of cheese added to their sandwich. People like putting a bit of milk on their cereal. Cheese is not oxygen. We do not need cheese. We have vegan cheese though, but we don't even need that. We don't need to put cow's milk on our cereal. We're not baby cows. Anyone here a baby cow? I didn't think so. We are not baby cows. We can put other milk on our cereal. Put soy, rice, almond, coconut, hazelnut milk. It's so easy to avoid all of that cruelty and killing. That's the dairy industry, man. And the egg industry is a very similar story. This baby boy, Rupert, was a waste product. He'd been rescued. His brothers are dead. And I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe that it was a reality, you know. Seeing it on YouTube is one thing. Real life is another. And Rupert became my job. It was my job to look after him, to help feed him, every day. And I spent the next 6 weeks with him. Looking in his eyes every day, seeing him get healthier and stronger, learning more about his personality, his individuality, I realized that chicken lady was right. They are individuals. They got their own thing going on. This baby, although very different to me, is also very similar. Wants to feel good, wants peace, doesn't want to suffer, doesn't want harm. Just wants to eat, sleep, and be happy. You know, good life. That's what I want too. So I spent the next 6 weeks with this cow, and it was amazing. You know, I'd run, and he'd follow me. He'd run after me like a dog. I'm like, oh, cows do this too. We play around, like it was fun. But for the most part, he would just headbutt me, because that's what they do. They headbutt their mums when they want milk to let them know. So he's headbutting me. That's a bit sad. But he's thinking I'm the mum. He's giving me headbutts all the time. And he's sucking on my pants trying to get milk out of me. I'm like, there's nothing in there, brother. Anyway, on the last day I was there, I wanted to say goodbye to him. But I couldn't speak. And my handwriting is bad. He would have never been able to read it. So I was like, all right, how am I going to say goodbye? Oh, no. I'll just telepathy him. Cows know telepathy, surely. I didn't know. I was just, what else could I do? So I was like, Roop. No, I didn't do that. I was just thinking in my head. He was over the other side of the barn, and I just thought in my head to him, I'm looking at him. I thought, Rupert, it's been so good looking after you and getting to know you. I have learned so much, and I'm so sorry for what has happened to you, but you are in such good hands here. It's time for me to leave, but I'm going to visit you again one day. Be good. And he was looking at me the whole time. And then he starts walking over to me. And I'm thinking, here we go. Headbutts. I just put these pants on. Oh, well, last time. And he comes over and he does something that he has never done to me. Everyone else, because I'm the daddy, just headbutts and slobber. He comes to me and he just nuzzles his head all soft on my leg. And I was like, whoa. And I thought, I'll just see how far I can push this. So I bend down just to give him a pat, just to see. I was expecting a big cow tongue up my face. And I patted him. And he's just looking at me, and I'm looking at him. And I was thinking, we're having a moment here. This is a cow-human moment happening right now. And it was such strange timing. Man, it freaked me out. I thought, did he hear my thing? Am I telepathic or something? I obviously don't think that. I do think that. No, I don't know. I don't know. I'm not saying that happened, but it did definitely make me start wondering, man, what do we know about these animals? I mean, we think we know a lot. We got a whole list. Cows are this, they're that, they're that, they're that, they're that. Put them in the box. Chickens, they're this, that, put them in the box. But the truth is, we will never fully understand the complexity, the intelligence, the awareness, the consciousness of these other sentient beings. We will never fully understand it. And we should have a more open-minded concept about who these other living beings are. We want to go to the moon and Mars and find other life. It's here, man. It's here. They're hiding from us. They're like, hell no, we're not meeting you humans. I saw what you do to the ones on your own planet. We're getting out of here. They took off from Mars. They're gone. So we need to have a more open-minded concept about who they are and how we treat them. As humans who do have the power, who do have the ability, we should be taking care of the most innocent and vulnerable beings, not using that power to exploit and torture and kill them. That's what a civilized society would do. That's what a kind, compassionate society would do. Not slit their throats and call it humane. That is what a psychopathic community would do. That's a disgrace. After my experience with Rupert, I keep traveling around Australia. I wanted to see more with my own eyes, so I started visiting factory farms. Obviously at night time, you can't just go, hey, I'm coming in, just check out your facility. If you do that here, if you go into a factory farm here and you take footage or rescue an animal, you can be tried as a terrorist an eco-terrorist. Who are the real terrorists? The ones breaking the animals out of a place where they're about to get their head cut off, or the ones who are about to cut their head off? I know who I'd rather be hanging out with. So I go to these places and I wanted to see if it was as bad as animal rights activists were telling me. I visited maybe 30 factory farms. I wish I could tell you that it was all good. It wasn't nowhere near as bad. Over 97% of animal products come from factory farms. Concentration, it's like a concentration camp for animals. There's tens of thousands of them in one big cage, basically, in some areas. Or a big mother with all her babies in a tiny little cage so small that she can't even turn around. They're hellholes. And visiting these places, looking around, realizing the enormity of this issue, and seeing these babies, little baby pigs writhing in their last moments, letting out little squeals as they die from not being able to get the nutrition they need, and piles of dead bodies, and animals with their legs that have been pulled out in a crate and being squashed from their mother, all kinds of things. But I thought about it and I thought, you know what? Even if it wasn't like this, 97% plus of animal products come from these places. Even if it wasn't like that, they live on grass their whole life, they get their bellies rubbed every day, they're happy. It is still wrong to take their life. Picture it like this. I got my brother, Jono. He lives in Australia. He's cool. We've had a good relationship our whole life, and I love him. I love my brother. I let him free range every day. He goes. And then one day in his sleep, and he doesn't even feel a thing, doesn't even see it coming, boom, I kill him. Can I go to the judge and be like, humane murder, bro? You know what I'm saying? He's going to be, what are you talking about, man? There's no humane way to murder. You robbed him of his greatest gift. You robbed him of his life. That cruelty alone is one of the worst things. That's why murder in this country and mine is one of the most punishable offenses. Doesn't matter how you murdered somebody. Doesn't matter if you did and they didn't feel it. Robbing someone of their life is one of the most ultimate cruelties. And that's the same with other species as well. So even if they were these nice places, animals shouldn't be getting used by us at all. They're not here for us. They're not ours. It's their life to live. Worry about your own life. Yeah, so that's true. Yeah, thank you. So I saw what was happening. It fueled my fire even more. And I started to care less about my own life and more about theirs. I'm lucky, man. I got everything. And then some. I got everything. I got nothing to worry about. You know? But I still was worried about me. I wanted to get more, have more of this, have more of that. But when I saw all this, something shifted in me and I realized my own life is actually not as much of a priority as I realized. I'm up here already. I'm one of the most privileged beings on this planet. What about those at the bottom of the bottom? You know, I wanted to invest more time in trying to lift them up. And doing that actually, ironically, enriched my life more than anything else. Next thing that happened, I was driving in my van, which I was living in, and it broke down in the middle of nowhere. Like I'm talking desert Australia, middle of nowhere. I got it towed back to a place and they said, I think they took advantage of me because I couldn't speak and I couldn't call anybody. And I don't know nothing about cars. So they're like, your engine, oh yeah, it's finished. It's going to cost you $3,000 US, it would be. $3,000 US to get a new engine. $3,000 to get it here and $3,000 for us to put it in. And I was, man, like, I didn't even have shoes on. This guy thought I had money. Are you kidding me? I mouthed to him, I don't have that money. So I had to abandon my van. Like, just say goodbye. I got nothing for it. It felt so wrong. And I was with my friend at the time. She was actually the one driving when the engine cut out, so obviously I blame her. Still to this day, I'm like, that was your fault. She said, what are you going to do? You know, I had to get back to the other side of Australia. I was in the middle of a mission. What are you going to do? I went like this. I'm going to walk. I was on the other side of Australia. You know how big Australia is? It's like America. So you imagine trying to walk come on, man. I'm going to walk, because I was a bit angry that this had happened. She's pretty smart. She said, you can't walk. You'll be walking, I'll be still walking right now. She said, you can't walk. She said, I was adamant. I'm like, I'm going to walk, She said, why don't you ride a bike? And I said, that's not a bad idea. Maybe I could do that. But first, I had to catch a plane. So I had to hitchhike 2,000, it's like 1,000 miles, something like that, I don't know. 1,000 miles. That's a hard thing to do when you're voiceless. I don't know about in this country, but in Australia, when people pick up hitchhikers, it's because they want to have a chat. They want to have, someone to talk to. So I'm like this, I got my big sign, and then people letting me in, and I'm having some very awkward silences. I mean, you never had them like this before. But there was one especially awkward one, I remember. I'd been waiting for 6 hours trying to get out of this town, this tiny little country town. And finally, this guy went past me. I couldn't believe it. It was the only guy that had left the town the whole day. So I'm like waving him, fuck you, man. And he comes back. I'd written my little thing. I've taken my van's broke down. I need to get north. And I've taken a vow of silence to raise money for charity. I didn't say for animals because I was in cattle country, so that would have been stupid. He would have been like, yeah, see you, mate. So I've done this thing, and I show him, and he looks at it, and he goes, well, that's a bit shit. I don't know what he meant. I thought it was pretty cool. I'm begging him, please, man. Get in then. So I'm like, sweet. I get him. We're riding. Oh, my Lord. It was awkward. And after a while, just kind of looking at each other, I'm not talking. He goes, well, I'll put my audio book back on. And I was like, okay. We look this way. Driver's over here. Okay. Stay with me, people. Puts his audio book back on. It's just got to this point, right? It's just got to this point in the audio book where this guy has walked up the stairs. It's like the most Australian audiobook I've ever heard in my life. He's walked up the stairs and he started slashing and gutting everyone. And I was like this. I've seen horror movies start like this. Oh my God. And then he said, can you at least roll ciggies? You call them ciggies here? Cigarettes? Can you at least roll cigarettes? And I was like, yeah. I'm going to be useful, man. You need me around. I rolled him like 4,000 cigarettes. Smoking. I get all the way to Darwin, which is like North Australia. And I get a flight to Bali. And the plan was this, because what I wasn't expecting in my vow of silence, I thought it would all be activism online, writing blogs every day. But every single person that came into contact with me, they wanted to know, why are you voiceless, man? Are you deaf or something? That's what everyone was saying. And so that gave me an opportunity to give them information about veganism, about animal rights, about why I've taken this vow of silence, give them a DVD, send them to a website or to a documentary. I was always able to bring up the conversation. I wanted another way to bring up the conversation. So I thought, how can I do that? When I'm talking again, how can I do that? I know what I'll do. I'll get covered in tattoos that tell the story. Mum was pissed. I'll get covered in tattoos, and that way when people say, oh, what do your tattoos say, man? I'll be like, sit down, I'll tell you all about them. Because, vegans, we want to tell everybody. There's that joke. How do you know when somebody's vegan? Don't worry, they'll tell you. Yeah, we're going to tell you, man. We're doing you a favor. Sit down and listen. It's a positive thing. We want to share it. So I go to Bali. My friend there's a tattooist. He starts tattooing my arms. I'll tell you some of them. There's a lion over here. It says, lions kill for need, humans kill for greed. Because we're not lions. You know what I'm saying? We don't need to kill anyone to eat. Sometimes lions kill and eat their babies. You don't hear people doing that and going, lions do it? What? We don't get our moral advice from lions. 2 minutes? Uh-oh. Okay. I'm going to wrap this up quick. I'll tell you quickly my tattoos. Lions kill for need, humans kill for greed. Tattoo of me as we rescued some animals from a factory farm. And it says, we are fighting until every cage is empty, not until every cage is comfortable. Right? Yeah. Shorter claps. I don't have much time here. We don't want bigger cages. We want empty cages. No innocent being deserves to be inside of a cage. I'm going to just I got heaps more story to go, so I'm going to wrap this up quick. I ended up cycling 5,000 kilometers across Australia. And I wanted to do that to show people you can be healthy, strong, fit, vegan. You do not need to eat animal products to do athletic things. I wanted to show people that anybody can be vegan. You don't need to be an animal lover. You don't need to be an intellectual. You don't need to love tofu. None of that. The only thing you need to agree with is that it's wrong to cause unnecessary harm to animals. If you agree with that, you already have veganism inside of your heart. Short. Okay, thank you. You already have veganism in your heart. Almost everybody agrees with that. It's just about helping people align with those values that almost everybody already has. Veganism is what's in our heart. It's normal. What most people do today is far from normal. And we need to help them realize that so we can make this world a much better place for us all to live. I get back after this 5,000 kilometer ride, which was the hardest thing I've ever done. My ass was killing me the entire time. And then Australia's most popular morning TV show asked me to come on their show, speak for the first time. So I did. I got there, I sat down. They said, "What are your first words going to be?" I said, "I want you to ask me why." I said, "Okay, James, why did you do this?" This is how I broke my vow of silence after 1 year. I said, "Thank you for asking." It was like this, "Thank you for asking." The reason I took this vow of silence is to raise awareness for the voiceless victims of this planet, the animals. We all say we love animals and we're against animal cruelty, yet we're paying people to mutilate and torture and slaughter animals. And it's not for any necessity, it's not because we need to for our health, it's because we like the way they taste. So I went voiceless because they're voiceless, I thought. But then I realized they're not actually voiceless. They cry in pain and they scream in terror. And when they do that, they're telling us that they're suffering. But the problem is we're not listening because they're covered in feathers or scales or wings or fur, and they don't look like us on the outside. I also did this to raise awareness for the way I've been living my life. I'm vegan, which means I don't consume any animal products. I don't support any animal exploitation. I wanted to show people through my journey how easy that is, how healthy that is, and that if you agree animal cruelty is wrong, then it's the right way for you to live your life too. And that interview went viral. It was seen by millions and millions of people all around the world. It inspired thousands and thousands of people to become vegan, to change, to make at least movement in that direction. And this is how we make this world a better place. That man planted one seed with me. Eating animals is bad karma. Since then, that happened. I've traveled and given over 150 speeches, all for free. One of them has over 10 million views online. You never know what these seeds that you plant will grow into. And it's up to each and every one of us. If you're not vegan, step 1, become vegan. Step 2, once you're vegan, help others do the same. Animals can't do this without us. They need our voice, and it's up to us to give it to them. That's the least we owe them. Every single one of us can make this world a better place, and together, that's exactly what will happen. Thank you very much.